What's going on, everybody? KSA Kris here, Real Estate Blitz. I got an interesting question here, and thanks for sending it. And I hope I'm not too mean. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all the front end, but basically, this agent is a newer agent, been in the business, been in real estate for 20 years, but a new agent, and saying, they have about 10 to 15 listings. Right now, relatively small, 25,000 to 100,000, and says I can basically, they can basically take in more listings, but they're out of money. They got no more money, and they can't buy any signs. They can't afford to buy any yard signs in order to showcase those listings. This is where it gets interesting. Agent is on a 70-30 split. The brokerage does not help with signs. Brokerage does not provide any signs. They believe that's understandable, and wanted to know if I had any suggestions or recommendations. And then wanted to also mention that they're not interested in jumping ship, not interested in leaving the brokerage. So let's run through this. First off, if you're on a 70-30 split and you're producing, I say it over and over and over. What is the broker doing to earn your business? You're the commodity. You're the person that's actually bringing them money. You're the person that gets them paid. Okay. If you're on a split, and most brokerages that are on a split, they're going to provide you a yard sign, or you have the ability, until they're out, at least to have a yard sign of some sort. A broker should think that this is smart, because a broker is going to give you a generic sign. Even in our brokerage, it's a generic sign with the office phone number on it. So if people call in on that house, then it goes to the office. It goes to the broker to pass out to other agents, or however they want to do it. And at the end of the day, and the way we do it is we actually, if it's a yard sign in a specific yard, we give it to that listing agent. But it brings in business. As a broker, the broker should want to put a yard sign in front of every freaking house possible. The broker should want to be putting yard signs out. So first off, I say shame on the broker. That's my opinion. Especially if you're paying a heavy split. But, it is what it is. You don't have an interest in leaving your broker. So, I would just say, what else is your broker not giving you to earn your money? That's their job. They should be earning your money. If you're just on a 70-30 split because you should just feel good that you're there, well, don't you just like being here? It feels like home. Yeah, but you don't do nothing. You don't help nobody. And if they aren't, then that doesn't make sense to me personally. I would tell you, you need to either go in and renegotiate with your broker for a higher split, or you need to find a different brokerage. That's just my opinion, especially if you ain't got no money. And that's a big one. If you don't have any money, you got no money. If you got, well, and I'll get to that. You can't do listings if you don't have money. That's the thing. Every agent wants to do listings. They're like, oh, I've heard somewhere I need to just do listings. Yeah, if you got no money though, listings cost money. You got to pay for photos. You got to pay for video. You got to pay for yard signs. You got to pay for open house signs. You can pay for stuff, right? And if you can't pay for that, you basically have a choice. You can do what a lot of really awful agents do, and I pick on them. When I see them, I call them out. You jump on the MLS and you see somebody with a thumbprint in front of their camera phone picture because they don't have any money. So you go and do crappy photos on your cell phone, which is just like, what kind of service? So you're going to ask them to give you a full 6%, but you provide garbage service. I don't understand that. It's baffling to me. You're gonna charge them 6%, but you can't afford. I'm sorry, tough love. I should have said that in the beginning. You're going to charge them all this money, right? But you can't even afford to put a yard sign out in front of their yard to do the best to show value to get their home sold. Well, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't be a listing agent. Maybe you shouldn't be a listing agent yet. Maybe what you need to do is focus on buyers and actually trying to create a cash flow, create a business. Maybe this is what I would do. Maybe join a team. That's a big one. Look, you're going to get the same splits. You're going to get either a 60-40 or 70-30, and it's the team lead's responsibility to provide you those signs, to provide you a lot of that stuff, those products. And trust me, the team lead, if they're worth their salt, they're going to make sure that you got all the open house signs and all the yard signs you could ever want with their face on it. And you know what? That's okay. If you're offended by that, this is a truth, okay? Do you want pride or do you want money? If you can't provide the service, you got no money, but you got a lot of pride. Well, these are my listings. That's garbage. Look, go and join a team if you are going to do that. If there's no quality team in that brokerage, you need to leave. That's my opinion. Because I mean, outside of telling you to, I could lie to you and say, oh well, why don't you borrow money from friends or family? You can do that, but I mean, you're kind of getting took. You should be being provided something in order to go out and produce. If you're drowning, and there's other stuff that you mentioned in here, you have no credit and you're going down fast. You said that you have no credit and you're going down fast. I'm not the one that said it. You did, but you're not willing to look at some of the truths, which is you need to provide a service. So you either need to become a buyer's agent and start going after buyers, and then you're only spending money on gas and time. Because here's the thing, you can always go all in on energy. If you got no money, you have energy, you have time. Okay, that you can every day you can go all in on your time and your energy. That's what you should be focused on. And again, I'm sorry, but I just feel like this has to be tough love, because you can't say that you need one thing, but then you aren't willing to consider the others. It's like somebody that says, I'm getting ready to lose my house, but I won't sell my paid off boat that's sitting in the garage because I love it too much. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. If you miss a payment and you got this boat that's sitting there, well, I love the boat, I know, but so do you love the boat more than your house? You got a boat paid off, just sell the boat, man. Do what you got to do. But yeah, man, I appreciate you sending this over. I'm sorry if it's not what you want to hear, but my YouTube channel isn't about what everybody wants to hear. If I did that, I would be just like every other person that's selling some type of a product, just so they would appease you and make you feel good about what you're doing. So they could get more of your little bit of the money that you got left over, so they can get some of it. I'm not asking you for any money, so I'm just going to tell you some of the truth. That's all I got today. Appreciate y'all. KSA Kris, Real Estate Blitz. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on YouTube, The Real Estate Blitz. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and I'll talk to y'all later. All right, bye.